pressure to make sure that we never struck with terror again from Afghanistan.
So the Taliban has since issued new threats of violence as President Trump calls off these talks at Camp David. Want to bring in our headliner today, President Trump's former Deputy National Security Advisor, K.T. McFarland, and welcome back to America's Newsroom.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
It's great to be back.
What is your take on what was happening over the weekend with Afghanistan and the Taliban? What do you think?
A couple of thoughts. One, I think that they were hoping that they'd have a deal. They probably thought they had a deal. It'd be a great place to announce it and a great symbol to announce it. But now that they don't have a deal, I think it's important that they canceled it. One, you don't want the Taliban to think they've got the upper hand. Number two, it's time for the Taliban to contemplate what life is going to be like when America leaves. No American aid, no American assistance, and they can go ahead and kill each other for the end of time. And then I think number three, the fact that it wasn't a deal, it would have been such a travesty to have had it at Camp David on the anniversary of September 11th.
But the theory probably serves that maybe they thought they had something they could announce.
You know, Bill, I actually think that would have made a lot of sense, and I think you're right, and nobody's saying that right now, but I think the Taliban just double-crossed them.
Yeah. 9/11 is Wednesday, 18 years later. Amy Klobuchar had some pointed words from CNN on Sunday about this.
This isn't a game show. These are terrorists. The way he conducts foreign policy, this reminds me exactly of North Korea. He loves the showmanship. He wants to have that moment, but then all the details aren't done, and then we end up in a worse place on the world stage than we were before.
What do you think of that comment as it relates to Afghanistan?
Well, I think she's absolutely wrong. I mean, Afghanistan, Trump has said we're going to get out of Afghanistan. And whether the United States leaves troops there, as long as there's safe troops. And I would say that at this point, say to Afghanistan government, say to the Taliban, we're leaving, and here's the deal. You don't kill Americans. You don't kill Americans in Afghanistan. You don't kill Americans anywhere in the world. And you sure as heck don't kill Americans in the American homeland. And if you do, you will not get another dollar of American aid anytime, anyplace, anywhere. And secondly, we will come back here, and we will find who helped assist attacks on the American homeland, and we will bomb them. We will bomb the training camps. We will bomb the bases. And since you don't care about civilian deaths, we're not going to either.
Yeah, I mean, I've been one of the people that says, why are you trying to negotiate with the Taliban? They're a terrorist organization. Yeah. But at the same time, how do you negotiate without them in Afghanistan?
Why are we negotiating? I mean, what do we hope to get from this? One time when I was in Afghanistan, I had two amazing experiences. One was Sadiq Siddiqui. He's the spokesman now for the president of Afghanistan. Then he was a more junior official. And I met with him, with a State Department official. And Sadiq Siddiqui left us waiting for an hour. He breezes into the meeting. He shows off his brand new gold Rolex. He had a shark skin suit. And he was bragging about the Mercedes the Germans had just given him. I look at my State Department colleague, and he's got a polyester suit, and he's got a Timex watch. What's wrong with this picture? And then a few days later, I met another Afghan who supposedly had sympathies for the Taliban or for the anti-government groups. And he had a bare wrist, and he tapped that wrist. And he said, you Americans, you have the watches, we've got the time. So what does that tell you? We are eventually going to leave, and they are eventually going to have it out.
Adam Kinzinger, Air National Guard, member of the Republican Party from Illinois, sent this. Never should leaders of a terrorist organization that has not renounced 9/11 and continues in evil be allowed in our great country. Never, full stop. That's with regard to Camp David or even Washington, D.C.
I go along with that. And as far as whether Taliban or Afghan government, I think the American people are tired of American blood and treasure being spent to prop up leaders who don't like us in countries that don't matter.
Let's rifle through three more topics quickly.
Sure.
Iran, you just mentioned time. You say time is on our side with regard to Iran.
Time's on our side. I mean,